Brock Purdy situation, how much money is he getting? Let me go ahead and try to bring up the screen. This is according. I'm sure you guys heard about it. If you guys follow Brad Graham and what he has to say, usually he's very quick with the news, and that's where I heard it from. And I had to go do some research on it. So let me go ahead and bring the article up so that way you guys can see it for yourselves. 49ers Insider sheds light on Brock Purdy's contract progress with an intriguing detail by David Bologna from Bonelia. I can't say it. I can't. But this is from Tim Kawame. I think, what was this? Kawakami. I really have to get on board with some of these names, man. Kawakami. All right, so while specific details remain behind closed doors, one 49ers insider provided insights into the mood in Santa Clara, offering a reassurance for fans concerned about the situation. I heard from a plugged-in NFL source this week, which means someone around the office, that the 49ers and Purdy's camp are indeed feeling like there won't be fireworks on the way to an eventual deal. So I don't know really how to take something like a comment like that. Like, what do you mean there's not going to be fireworks? Is it, do you mean as in like it's not going to be like a last minute thing towards like training camp and then boom, it's going to happen kind of type deal? Or do you think it's going to break the bank kind of type deal? Like whatever, what exactly do you mean by that? And he says, but I've also heard generally that the framework might be a little different than some other recent QB deals. That's not saying anything about guaranteed. It's just the framework might be a little bit different. From what I heard and what Brad Graham had to say is potentially that it might not be a 5-year, 6-year deal, that it might be like something like a 3 or a 4-year deal. I could see that being something that makes sense like that. And that would play into the factor of fireworks, because fireworks is like franchise, 5 years, this much money, something like that. So that could make sense what Brad Graham had to say. That's just a little weird. I think it's a little bit of a weird wording, because what do you exactly mean by that? And I'm sure and let you guys have your own opinions on what you feel about that. Most fans expect Purdy to secure a deal averaging around $50 million annually. I was thinking 58, found 59, making him not only one of the highest paid players in NFL, but also the richest in franchise history. What does Kawakami mean by a little different framework? This is what he says. I suspect this means the 49ers could be pitching a shorter term, lesser guaranteed deal compared to the full commitment deals signed by Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert, and others over the last few years. Will Purdy and his agent be happy with that? Assuredly, there have been some negotiations. Nobody makes their best offer right off the bat. It might take time. That last comment there of saying it might take time is not something I like to hear. That is not something that I wanted this. I want this deal done by the end of February. And I understand that you don't make your best deal up front, right? But you kind of did that with Jimmy Garoppolo. You made it happen as fast as possible, Jimmy Garoppolo. This is not a wide receiver. This is not a tight end. This is not a offensive lineman. Okay, this is your quarterback, the most important position in the NFL. So when I hear it might take time, that's not what I want to hear. We cannot have a Dak Prescott situation. We cannot have this, okay? If it's long-term, short-term, fine, whatever. Just figure out the deal. So that way he can come into this offseason where we're set up perfectly. We cannot have a derailment on any level, especially as one as high as San Francisco as the quarterback position. You cannot have it. So far, this offseason has been phenomenal. I don't want to hear it might take time. I need this now. I need this before free agency. There should be no excuse to why you guys haven't prepared yourself prior during the season. Maybe not full focused, but there was talks like, hey, this is how much we should pay. There should be a ground basis of where you're starting at. Okay, it should be like, this is where we're officially starting. Let's take a look right now. That better not have been the case. So it does, and if it truly is like, hey, let's not do the Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert thing, I understand that, because those contracts have been absolutely terrible. Those have not been good for other teams out there. So like 3-year deal helps you get out of it. However, Brock Purdy is not like those quarterbacks. Brock Purdy is relatively really reliable. He has gotten hurt a few times, but just like every other quarterback before Brock Purdy has gotten hurt, right? It's not just a Brock Purdy thing. It's because we don't have offensive linemen to protect our quarterback. You're bound to get injured if you constantly get hit the way you do. Not everyone's built like Josh Allen, okay? And Brock Purdy's not built that way. You need to protect your assets, especially someone you're going to pay a lot of money to. I don't like hearing this, and this just could be a negotiation tactic, putting it out there. Hey, this is what we want, and the agent is up to the agent trying to kind of figure out to make up in the middle. Because I did hear they kind of want a fair deal, and usually a fair deal means it kind of leans more towards like just a team friendly deal when you say fair deal. But if it's not going to be this 5-year gigantic deal, I still would like to have this 3-year deal where he's satisfied, maybe a fully guaranteed contract for Brock Purdy, like a 3-year fully guaranteed contract, kind of like a Kirk Cousins-esque kind of contract that's just 3 years. I wouldn't mind that because it still wouldn't – it probably that guaranteed money still probably wouldn't equate to $195 or maybe $200 million. He'll probably get like $100 million guaranteed for 3 years or some shit like that. I don't know, maybe 120 or something. But again, it does sound like they are trying to go a little bit under $50 million, and they just want to make this short term. If you're saying it's not a firework deal, so I don't like this. I don't like, and it could just because of previous negotiations. It could be just because of previous situations where this is where I feel a little like, I don't know how I feel about this, man. Like I want this over and done. I don't want to hear it might take time. I really don't. You got the Jimmy Garoppolo done like that. And he ended up being the highest paid quarterback in the NFL in the end. At the time, it was a significant chunk of the cap, and you figured it out. You need to do this now. Brock Purdy is not Jimmy Garoppolo. He's better than him. All right? Not to mention, you could argue Brock Purdy deserves back pay at this point. Hearing that it might, oh my God, it doesn't, like I just feel like, oh my God, it's the butterflies and the worries in my chest, the anxiety of having to go through an entire offseason wondering what's happened to Brock Purdy. Oh, is he being traded? Is he going to hold out? That whole process is going to be magnified by 10. You thought Ayuk's situation was bad? Wait until there's a quarterback is involved with San Francisco 49ers. That is going to be magnified. It's going to be magnified by 1,000,000 if Brock Purdy goes into March. The moment free agency starts, the moment that starts, the new year starts, and if Brock Purdy is not officially signed by then, the talks are going to fly. There's going to be constant conversations. There's going to be constant opinions. And I mean opinion pieces of, oh, he's going to be traded. Oh, I heard he's going to be traded. In my opinion, this is what, and you're just going to constantly hear people's opinions of what's going to happen. And then somehow the opinion turns into fact. That's what's going to happen. That's how word of mouth works. That's how the game of telephone works. The moment the new year starts and Brock Purdy is not our franchise quarterback, or if he's not solidified as our quarterback, prepare yourselves for winter, y'all. Prepare yourselves for the constant bullshit. Prepare yourselves from, and I don't mean this is a shot because they cover the 49ers. Prepare yourselves from 49ers Chat Sports, Larry Krueger, Brad Graham, Grant Cohn, and David Lombardi. You're going to hear nothing but, oh, I heard this, and so this is automatically fact. This guy gave his opinion, so that must be fact. You're going to hear it on a daily fucking basis. You thought Ayuk's situation was bad. This is going to be tenfold. Tenfold. If you're going to give him a fair deal, if you're going to give him a contract that's not fireworks, fucking figure it out that meets them halfway with the agent. We cannot do this. We cannot have it. You figured it out with Jimmy Garoppolo. You need to figure it out now. It's the one thing you need to figure out. Literally, there's nothing else left. Okay? There's nothing else left that can create more anxiety, that can create more tension than right now. That is not signing your quarterback by free agency. I predicted by the Super Bowl, and that doesn't look like it's going to happen. So I was wrong about that prediction. But I'm saying this right now. Greenlaw is not as important. The extension for Fred Warner is not nearly as important. Kittle, none of that. None of that is nearly as important as Brock Purdy right now. And hearing that it might take time is fucking bullshit. Pay the man. Give him his money. Yes, he immediately has the leverage. Well, guess what? That's what happens when you have a fucking quarterback. When you have a starting franchise quarterback, they get the leverage when it comes to extension time. That's what happens. Deal with it. Sign him. I don't want a stupid fucking, I don't want this. I don't want this drama, man. I'd much rather deal with the drama of like, oh, you should have signed Dre Greenlaw. You should have done that. Much rather hear that. Much rather hear that. Fred Warner, I'm not worried about extending Fred Warner. I'm not worried about an extension of George Kittle. I'm not worried about them holding out because I know for a fact this team is going to extend them. I know for a fact that's going to happen. And that's probably not going to happen until July or June. Brock Purdy's situation needs to happen now. So whatever it is that's holding you back to make you second guess, I understand your first offer, that's where it starts. But the last sentence you say is it might take time. No, it should not take time. You have until free agency, the start of the new fucking year, to figure it the fuck out. You cannot have any QB drama starting new year. You cannot have this because if it goes into the season, it's going to infect the fucking team. It's going to ruin the team. It is the quarterback, dude. This isn't Detroit, man. It's the Super Bowl. Kind of fucking ass response. All right. So that's how I feel about it. Like if you're going, you need to just figure it out. You need to just figure it out. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump into the questions.